making this year's brisket. It's been sitting in the refrigerator for 2 days. I put all my bay leaves this year in a little muslin bag. It's actually a spice bag, and threw it in there. These were all broken up little pieces of basil I had bought inexpensively. Now I understand why they were inexpensive, because they were broken up. When you go to the store and buy something like a name brand, or usually all solid pieces without anything broken. So sometimes you get what you pay for. In a dish like this, I need to be able to fish out the bay leaves. But fortunately, I had the muslin bag or spice bag. I was able to do that with that. So I'm going to pour the pureed gravy. And I don't know whether I could use all of it, but yeah, that's a lot of gravy for brisket. I've learned my lessons many times in using a blender, with always put a towel over the top of it. I'm using an osterizer. I call it an oster, and this is an old-fashioned one. This is an Imperial 8. What I like about it, it has the buttons. I can step through the speeds, and then an on-off switch. It allows me to keep this from shooting out of the top of the blender. I'll pour this on top after I put all the brisket in there. Time to trim and slice the brisket on the mandolin. I have done this by hand for years, and you know, I'm pretty good at doing it by hand, but nothing really beats the mandolin, except maybe if I had a real, you know, deli type of meat slicer. That would come out great. What I'm looking at right now is the grain. There's the decal here, which I'm going to remove and work on it separately. But you can see the grain is obviously this way, and I will slice it across the grain. So right now I'm just going to trim off the excess fat. This is where I guess lots of treats. Sometimes you watch a little more piece of meat here, and kind of enjoys the treat. Now I didn't remove the fat before cooking, because you need the fat. That's the secret in cooking good brisket, is that you need a good fat cap. Otherwise the meat does not get tender. But once after it's cooked, this you can go to town, and you know, you can remove as much or as little as the fat as you want. So I'm looking at the decal here, and there's a layer of fat in here. So I'm just going to put my knife in there and hope for the best, and see if I can find that fat layer. Yeah, it's pretty well trimmed. So what you can see is my assistant Barkley has strategically moved into his favorite place in the kitchen, which is underneath the desk, so that he could be ready for when I offer him up some tasty tidbits. That's the decal. Nothing particularly difficult about what I'm doing here. Alright, pull my assistant. Here. Okay. That little hand gesture, he went over to sit in his cage. That's where he does his best begging from. Interesting how he's been trained to do that. So here's the trim decal. Here's the trimmed brisket. Now with the mandolin, I could make this paper thin that it would fall apart. So what you want to do is you want to cut it as thin as you want it, but if you make it too thin, it just falls apart in the gravy. So you know, you want a nice thickness so that when you bite into it, you get some good teeth action. Okay, you can see the grain on this side real easy. It's going this way, so I'm going to slice this side first. You can see how beautiful those slices came out. I'm going to put those right into the gravy. So make it a little thicker. Yeah, that's about right. Yep. Now, if you want, you can actually trim more fat off this, but I think that you're going to lose flavor. And fat is definitely where the flavor is. If I wanted to, I could, lay out all these pieces in a nice row so it all is kept in sequence, but this is all going to sit in the gravy. I like putting an old kitchen towel down. Actually, it's an old towel that's been repurposed as a kitchen towel for these types of purposes. It helps keep all the dirt in one area. I just trimmed off the diagonals just to make it easier for slicing. For working with mandolin, I sacrifice a kitchen mitt holder. I use that to save my fingers. Brisket definitely tastes better after it's sat in the gravy for a couple days. So after I'm done with this, I'll refreeze this and then defrost it before Thanksgiving. So what's happening is the grain's changed a little bit. So it's a little bit, it's not cutting as nicely. Not much I can do about that. But when I look at this side, the grain definitely looks like it's going this way. So I'm perpendicular. I'm just going to reverse the cut on it. Yeah, that really helped. I'm just making sure that all the pieces are well submerged and we'll have a good coating of gravy on it. Don't be confused that this is gravy like turkey gravy or pan gravy. This is brisket gravy. Your slices are falling apart. Let's play with the decal for a few minutes. Really should cut a lot faster and a lot easier than this. The grain's running this way. This is also just getting shredded. When all else fails, we go back to the old knife. I'm breaking the rule. I'm cutting it with the grain right now into nice chunks. This way, people who like chunky brisket get chunky brisket. Just easy and expedient. So if you notice, that was 10 cups of brisket gravy. This is just about overflowing, which is going to cause a problem when I go to reheat, because unless I remember to put a tray underneath this, this will drip out or overflow and it gets hot and expands and make a mess in the oven. Exactly not what I want to happen. I could take some of it out, but I love this gravy. It's spectacular. So what I'll do is I'll just double wrap it in aluminum foil. Love having a supply of catering trays like this, the aluminum tray, and I go out and buy the tops. It just makes it all look very professional. Nice and centered. And this will go directly into the oven this way. I will not unwrap it because it's just a reminder that this is going to overflow. But I'll put a jelly roll pan underneath this to catch any of the drippings. This gets frozen off now. And that's it. Really pretty easy. Computer, today's date. Computer, today's date.
It's Tuesday, November 16th.
I'm just putting a date on this. It needs about at least 2 days in the refrigerator to defrost. That's it. Reward my assistant puppy. He gets all the little scraps. Here, here, come on. Barkley, here. No, doesn't want. That's unusual. Okay, that's it for brisket.